town tours, highway drives, and lists.
This motherfucker said Cleveland, Ohio is 100% the worst place in the USA, and I will tell you why.
Hey everyone, it's Book Shambi. Welcome to the show.
I gotta hear this shit.
Like this one. Please be sure to click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a future upload. Here's our list of the pros and cons for Cleveland, Ohio. Pro number 1, cheap houses. Houses in Cleveland are cheap, like real cheap. Don't get too excited because con number 1 might explain all of this. But for the sake of keeping this a pro, Cleveland is one of the most affordable cities in the United States. The average median home income is under $60,000. That is literally a down payment in other cities. 44% of the city is made up of renters, so it's also a great place to make real estate investments. It's also a good way to help rehab some of the city's houses.
Alright, stop the glaze. Let's get to the negatives.
Homeownership is a very realistic thing for people of
Cool,
all
good
income
for
levels in
them.
Cleveland, and this is very
Alright.
those who might not be able to do so otherwise. Con number 1.
Let's get it.
Blight. So coming off of the pro of having cheap houses, Cleveland's downtown and tourist attractions may make visitors think that they have their act together. But any turns off the main roads will show you otherwise. There are a lot of abandoned houses, factories, and storefronts here. Neighborhoods like North Broadway, Central, the Stockyards, Fairfax, and Woodland Hills are full of structures and criminals that do nothing but blight the city and bring property values way down for everyone who lives there. You can have a really nice house sitting directly across to an abandoned house that are used.
She just said you can have a very nice house in Cleveland that is sitting right across from an abandoned house.
For non-prescription medication deals, soliciting
For drug
even
deals.
worse crimes like loss of life. These houses and buildings stand in a dilapidated state until they eventually crumble or catch fire and fall into their fate. The blight in Cleveland is comparable to the likes of other Ohio cities like Akron, Cincinnati, and Toledo, maybe even Detroit and St. Louis. Keep this in mind if you see cheap real estate deals. Pro number 2.
Alright, we're skipping the pros.
This is a getting
I
in
don't
a
give a
really
shit.
specific skill set or make your money on the streets like a real OG. If you do manage
Okay,
to
I'm clicking off this video. She did not just say that.
Like a real OG, Brandon. That's how I make my money on the streets, like a real OG.
Same old phone?
What about you?
Nah. Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7.
What the is happening here? What is this place? This place is terrible.
He's driving through Cleveland.
What the is happening here? What is this place? This place is terrible. What the? God. Okay, so I've been to a lot of places, and the stuff I just saw in East Cleveland is like nowhere I've ever seen. There's a vibe there that is, it just makes you feel uncomfortable. The danger zone, the crime zone, the poverty area back there. I've never really seen anything like it. It looks very third world.
He said East Cleveland looks third world.
It looks abandoned. It's actually really sad. Now, I've been to a lot of messed up and rundown places with terrible poverty and the worst crime in the country, and I'm rarely intimidated. There was something about East Cleveland that didn't sit right. Maybe it was the reputation. I mean, it's widely known as a no-go zone for pretty much everyone in the area. And it was certainly the way it looked. But it was a feeling, an energy on some of the back roads of East Cleveland that made me feel unsafe exposed, and at times doubting my decision.
Why did he say it like that? Exposed.
So this is East Cleveland. I'm gonna get to the terrible parts in a bit, but before we go there,
I thought we are at the terrible parts.
this is St. Clair Avenue, one of the main drags through what's become one of this nation's worst hoods.
I can't watch these motherfuckers.
This is St. Clair Avenue, one of the main drags through what's become one of this nation's worst hoods.
Why is he saying it like that?
But you know how the story begins, right? It wasn't always like this here. Going back to 1950, there were 40,000 people here and things were jamming. This was the most densely populated Cleveland suburb back then. Up until the late 60s, East Cleveland was known as a stable and well-run city. Many people here made a fortune in iron ore, coal, steel, shipbuilding, and railroads. This place was a mini boomtown during the Second Industrial Revolution. But then demand for American manufacturing declined. This place went to the shitter. In the late 60s, real estate prices crumbled, and then the black population moved in.
Oh wow!
That's gotta be racist.
This guy's a
That's gotta
fucking weirdo, bro.
That's gotta be racist.
And then the black population moved in.
60, East Cleveland was 2% black. It was 87% black, making it the second highest black population in the nation. Today, it's
What? Yo, this has to be racist, bro.
The city's population
Racially
is less than
motivated.
half of what it was at its peak. There's 17,000 people living here now, living in conditions that on many blocks look third world. Look at the place.
What do you mean by that?
Miles from Cleveland. 40% of the homes in this city are vacant, and 40% of people here don't even have a car. Almost half the population
Austin.
here lives in poverty, and more people continue to trickle out of town for a better life. One recent report said this is the 4th poorest place in the country. It's only the 4th poorest? There's even worse places than this. Households here earn under $20K a year. That's the whole house, which is about $1,600 a month. That's one person on average working at McDonald's. And only about 1 in 10 people here went to college. East Cleveland schools performed terribly. This is home to just about the worst district in the state. Here's one of its recent report cards, all D's and F's. And they're laying teachers off every year because there's just less kids in town. They can't justify keeping staff on in schools that have classes shrinking in size. And dangerous isn't even the right word. One headline referred to crime in the area as like war numbers. 17 murders in a city of 17,000 people means, well, 1 in 1,000 people here was murdered last year. 1 in 1,000.
Bro, this guy needs to shut the fuck up. It's cause the black population.
Using this app to save and invest, and here's why. Because with the Acorn app,
He's just driving through East Cleveland.
Here's the worst of it. This is Chapman Avenue, right off of the main road
Yo,
in town.
leave East Cleveland
Nobody
alone, bro.
officially lives here anymore, but there's a lot of foot traffic in this neighborhood, and you can bet these houses are used for squatting, where terrible and heartbreaking things happen. Tons of people who live here say it's disappointing to see East Cleveland the way it is today. You think?
Yo, I know, but seriously, I wouldn't trust it. Oh my god, those are so rundown.
Cuyahoga County, where East Cleveland is, they've set aside $50 million to tear down large parts of town like this. I mean, this is only a small part of town in one little pocket of the city. There's tons of places in Ohio that look like this.
Damn!
they've only torn down about 150 homes in the area so far, but then the money ran out, so places like this are going to have to wait to be razed and forgotten about. Right now, there's so many homes in East Cleveland that need to be torn down that they're only getting the ones that are high priority, meaning the ones near schools or on streets where there's families. I mean, you can't knock them all down, right? The average home here is worth about $36,000, and you could buy a home here for like $10K, but you can bet there's a ton of tax liens on them, and you'd be lucky if there was any plumbing and wiring left in the place. I mean, with the price of lumber, it would cost more to board up the buildings than the buildings are worth. Back in 1910 and 1916, Cleveland tried to incorporate this place, but East Cleveland said, no way, we're going to be an independent city. Well, 100 years later, they're wishing they had taken Cleveland up on that, because in 2016, they tried to get annexed into Cleveland. But Cleveland said, no way, we don't want to take this on. We're broke enough as it is. We can't afford to help you. So East Cleveland continues to trudge along as an independent city, just trying to keep its head above water. One time, not too long ago, East Cleveland's last working ambulance broke down, and a nearby community...
You got no ambulances?
They had to donate one.
They had to donate an ambulance.
Is this place even able to be saved? Like many of this country's terrible places, it was a large number of jobs lost that caused the big decline. But looking around, I don't know if these people even want to work or can work.
Damn.
I don't think they can even get a good job. Are they smart enough? They can pass a drug test?
Yo, this has to be.
Yo, this is all racially motivated, man.
I went to East Cleveland.
How was your experience there?
I've been intimidated very few times while driving in bad areas in the country. I think Camden was pretty intimidating. Parts of Gary. East Cleveland is on another level from most of the ghettos I've seen. And sometimes you happen to go into the right neighborhood in a bad town. Sometimes you may go into the right part of town, meaning like it's not the worst part of town, so you don't see the true hood. But
He needs to stop saying that.
there were some parts of East Cleveland that I was like, I did not feel safe, that were like isolated from the community, where you turn a block and you don't know where the end of that goes, and the streets are just so messed up that like you're driving over glass, rocks, and debris, and you can't see over the weeds in some of the yards, and it's just like it felt like I was not in America in some parts of East Cleveland.
What?
Especially the Chapman Road. Have you seen Chapman Road?
I kind of avoid the east side, the whole east side of Cleveland, like the plague. Like even the trendier areas, like trendy areas where like younger people like to hang out. I went over there. I've been over there before, and I was like, this isn't even. I have no desire to be over here. Part of my job when I was in public accounting was going to like clients. I would go into like apartment buildings and kind of check them out and look for ways I could accelerate depreciation by like reclassifying assets and stuff, like real super exciting stuff. But I had a client over on the east side one time, and I got off on the wrong exit and had to drive through some like pretty rough areas. And let's just say the door's locked, and my hand was on the center console ready to draw my firearm if I needed to. It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
I did not feel safe one bit driving through over there.
No, we did the same thing once. We pulled off to let the dogs go.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You Austin type story.
Left Cleveland on a previous trip and got off probably 2 exits outside of town and didn't know where we were going. And that was another time that I was like, oh shit. Like, we looked around and she goes, what are you, get in the car? And it was just like, 50 eyeballs were on us, and we were just sitting there, like, you know, with the dog trying to pee, and she's like, let's freaking go. You could just sense, like, it's very... Ignite the fairways.
Fireball.
Jiminy Cricket, you don't even have a club in your hand. Very infrequently do I go to a place where I can feel a vibe that just isn't inviting and feels, you just can feel it, right? And I felt it both times I went to East Cleveland, and I don't feel that vibe very often. I was in the south side of Chicago 2 days before, and I didn't feel that vibe at all. It was
Damn.
Right.
I mean, it was run down, and I knew about how bad it was, but I would have just thought I was in like some normal bad part of town in any city, really. I didn't get like the whole like really sketchy vibe like I did in East Cleveland.
It's pretty bad. I mean, it's kind of like what you'd see in any other city, but it's very large and widespread, and it's just a lot of crime, a lot of rundown houses, just like typical stuff, just very like widespread.
Is there any reason why I would ever go there?
There's nothing really over
Why would you ask that?
there.
You hear about a lot of crime over there?
Yeah, I try not to pay like too much attention to it, but yeah, I mean, anytime there is like some sort of, like anytime you do look up like East Cleveland news, there's a lot of crime there.
Do you ever go to East Cleveland at all?
There was a time when I used to live there, and just for a minute, and I worked there for a little bit at their high school sub-teaching.
What was your experience in East Cleveland?
It was terrible. Just the classes were out of control. The place is out of control. Potholes that were horrible. Just lawlessness. They had a traffic camera that would just get people, even if you weren't speeding. The courts don't function well. Just a horrible place.
Why is it so bad in East Cleveland?
First of all, like the tax base is pretty well gone, and just the crime is unbelievable. It just overwhelms the police.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven some really terrible places in this country, and there were parts of East Cleveland that looked like they were not in America with the condition of these neighborhoods. It was intimidating and overwhelming. It was sad. It was like, but like shockingly like interesting, if in a certain sense. Like I was just like, wow, like this is looks like a bomb went off. It literally does in some parts of East Cleveland.
Yeah, believe it or not, you're seeing the improved version. They spent a fortune over the last maybe 7-8 years tearing down numerous apartment buildings. And other,
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, is that the solution is for East Cleveland? Is just to knock most of it down, and then whoever's left is just at least it won't be so dangerous and blighted and.
well, there's been a lot of talk over the years. They want Cleveland to grab them up and annex them and bring their resources there, but Cleveland has struggles itself, and it's a blighted, expensive area and expensive process, so nobody's really wanted to do it. The only thing that might happen with East Cleveland is it borders on University Circle in a certain part, and University Circle is actually very expensive because of the hospitals, University Hospital, and they built some really expensive apartments over there. And there was talk that they wanted to annex a little bit of Euclid Avenue by there and take it over from the city. So I don't know if that would hurt them, or if that keeps expanding with the hospitals, if that might encourage them to actually go through with annexing the place.
So, danger-wise, what kind of stuff do you hear coming out of East Cleveland? What kind of stuff goes on there on the news and where you're at?
Shootings, all kinds of gang violence, drugs. There's probably once a week you hear of a shooting at a gas station, and robberies. every day probably.
When
And there
Austin
was
comes
the-
back, I'm gonna tell him go to East Cleveland, man.
Yo, please go to East Cleveland, Austin.
Go to the gas station in East Cleveland, bro.
serial killer that lived there.
Yo, where was
Wait.
Rockwell from, bro?
Wait, it gets worse.
On robberies.
No way.
Every day probably. And there was the serial killer that lived there, Michael Madsen. And I don't know if you had known Anthony Sewell,
So, there's serial killers in fucking...
their serial killer. He had lived there when he was younger.
Okay, so there's gang shootings and serial murders. And
There's gang shootings and serial killers.
down buildings. That's not good.
Yeah, recipe for disaster. Low
No
education
fucking
system.
shit,
And I
man.
don't know if you know,
Yeah, I think that's a recipe for disaster if you have gang shootings and serial killers.
that was the home of John D. Rockefeller lived there, and he had a summer estate there.
No, I
Yes.
did not.
Yeah, it was actually a wealthy community till white flight took place in probably the 60s
Oh no, here we go again.
to the 70s. It was still probably a reasonably safe, decent black community until like the early 80s when the crack epidemic happened.
Yeah, so in the 80s, that ruined a lot of, I mean, the 80s were terrible for a lot of our big cities. I think that was like the worst time. Places were pretty run down. Like, how do you feel about, like, or how do the people in East Cleveland feel about who's in charge, the politicians, and what they're trying to do to make this place
What can you do?
function?
Well, they had one mayor who was indicted in a corruption state.
Good start.
Before taking bribes, I think from contractors. And they've just had a recent politician, a former mayor, and it was in the paper, he was warned because he interfered with another corruption investigation, and they haven't given details about it. He had tipped the person off. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that. And the new mayor seems to be kind of weak. It just seems to be a mess there.
Yeah, can the police I mean, they talk about defunding the police all over the place. How can the police handle what's going on in East Cleveland?
No, and the police actually have a lot of judgments against them from police abuse and other stuff, but when you have a broke city, they really can't do anything about that. They have judgments against them, but they're never going to be paid. Millions of dollars to a city with virtually no tax base and incomes, just some paper.
Does the federal government give East Cleveland money to?
Why would
How
they?
do they operate if they don't have?
Oh,
I mean, I've seen the place. They clearly don't clean the streets, but like, how do you just
they
provide
don't clean
these?
the streets and fix them or traffic lights, but remember, they get money from the county. At one point, there was a program which I think stopped, but it had improved, and the sheriff was sending, the Cuyahoga County Sheriff was sending police there to help the East Cleveland police patrol the streets because the small police force was just so overwhelmed by the crime.
Community leaders, blah, blah, blah. If this place hasn't changed by now, it won't. There aren't any leaders who can save this place. They need to save themselves. There's probably a handful of people here who could try to enact change, but it's going to take a long time and some luck. As one resident put it, East Cleveland needs help in general, financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. But the smart ones, they'll just leave. Here's what one current resident said: "I'm not going to become a product of my environment. I'm going to use my current circumstances as motivation to propel my life in the direction I choose, not the life that's been given to me. I want to prove to myself that I can ultimately achieve
Aura.
any aspirations greater than I ever imagined. Good for you, young lady. Get the hell out of East Cleveland. Be one of the few to get out of there and have success in life.
Yo, they cannot be that bad, bro.
It's bad. I'm watching him drive through it. It is pretty bad.
Hey guys, so if anything I just talked about upset you or made you sad or mad, well then do something about it. Call your leaders and demand change. Chip in and help those in need. Make your community better, because communities don't get better without hard work and determination. America's a great place. It just needs some more love and pride.
This is Sage.
Get $150
Oh God, Youngstown.
$5, win or lose.
I think I'm gonna get off here, Brandon.
He has one. He has one on Youngstown. I'll have to play for you soon.
Yo, that's where Austin's from, bro. Let's see what Austin's.
Unless you want to listen to it right now.
Dude, I'm so fucking tired. I'll listen to it another time. You gotta trust me, bro. The thugs of Youngstown, the trenches of Youngstown,
The ghettos.
the ghettos. We finally get to see what he was talking about.
Oh my God, he went on a whole rant about East Cleveland.
Good night, cutie patootie.
Good night.